What up, folks? It's your boy Chicago again, the handsome liberal, coming to you live from the work van. Just wanted to do a real quick video. Didn't want to go too deep into this because I heard some news, as you can see from the title of the video. You know, they've been bringing back a lot of these really popular older fighters. Mike Tyson being the primary one. He fought Roy Jones a few months back, and now I think he's going to be fighting Lennox Lewis and some of the other fighters from the 90s. I mean, these things are making big money. People want to see these guys still because they're such big celebrities. Well, Holyfield, the real deal Holyfield, is going to be in a fight coming up soon. And guess who was announcing that fight? President Trump, former President Trump, and one of his children, I hear, one of his sons is going to be also. Can you imagine Trump blow for blow on pay-per-view, being allowed to say whatever the hell he want to say? I mean, this is one of the first times where I think the announcer might be more of a draw to watch the fight than the actual fighters themselves. And that's not taken away from, I cannot think of the guy right now that's really drawing a blank, very well-known guy that announces for the UFC. He's also a comedian, has his own radio program on YouTube. I cannot. Everybody watching this knows who the hell I'm talking about, but right now I'm drawing a blank on who I'm trying to think of. But anyway, yeah, I cannot think of any issue where an announcer is this big. And I'm from Chicago. You know, everybody knows who Harry Carey was, being a Cubs fan and things like that. There's always some really big, you know, there are Howard Cosell's and, you know, Marv Alpert type people, but Donald Trump. Can you imagine how much money they're going to make just getting him to call the fight? Because political junkies like myself, and that's not to say I wouldn't watch Holyfield fight anyway, because I do like these 90s champions coming out to fight. But you're going to get a lot more people tuning in that would not have watched this just to hear what Trump says, because he's so bombastic and he's so uncensored. And to give him a pay-per-view microphone, keep in mind, Trump has been kind of limited in the public eye because of what Twitter and Facebook and YouTube has done. Yeah, he's still holding rallies and he's still saying shit, but being taken off Twitter has a huge amount of silent power in silencing Trump, because Twitter's free. You got push notifications on your phone, so anytime he says something, your phone can make a noise and let you know he said it. Websites, Parler, and all these other things he's attempted to do is not going to give him anywhere near the visibility of Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. So being banned from those sites has really effectively silenced Trump to a significant amount. And just holding rallies is not going to do it, because, like I said, only when you hold a rally, you're talking to the choir, you're preaching to the choir. Only people who are already big fans of the president are going to show up at those rallies. But when you're on Twitter or when you're on Facebook, you now have and YouTube, you have the ability for people to accidentally see you that weren't going to see you, hear your message, and like your message. That's how he ended up getting so popular back in 2015, when CNN and MSNBC and these other stations that are not really Republican networks were running him, because he's such a ratings bonanza. And, you know, anything he says is going to be, you know, he's likely to say any kind of shit. So he is definitely a big ratings cash cow. So all of these networks are showing him. Well, the end result was a lot of people started liking his message that might have not otherwise heard him. So come 2020, he was not on CNN and MSNBC as much, because they realized, shit, we actually helped get this guy elected. So they definitely did not run all his rallies anymore. They did not, you know, anytime he said something or somebody ran up to him and put a microphone in his face, he no longer was on CNN. They would actually, you know, if he said something that would apply to their agenda, then they would show it later on. But they wouldn't show him live, you know. And I know I guess I would be snitching in regards to liberals, but the media does have a lot of liberal bias to it. It does lean left. This is something that most Trump supporters already know, but a lot of people on the left deny that it's true. But yeah, in the 2020 election, they treated him a lot different than they did in the 2016 election. And there were candidates in the 2016 election that were saying that, Republican candidates that were saying that, shit, I could actually do a lot better in this campaign too if I got all of the free airtime that Trump does. Well, it helped him out. I mean, he was on TV all the time. You even had NBC, which all of the right wing thinks to be a very liberal network. And I'm talking about NBC free TV, showing his rallies, showing his speeches live back in 2016, 2015. So, like I said, in 2020, they didn't do any of that shit. Trump attacked the media and said so much negative shit about the media that if it wasn't right-wing media, they didn't cover him positively at all. And it probably hurt him when it came to running for 2020. But anyway, back to the original topic, just to not go too long in this video. What do you think? You willing to watch Trump? You willing to watch the Holyfield fight just to hear what Trump has to say? Yours truly, the handsome liberal. I am all over this shit. This is pretty exciting. I'm willing to get this pay-per-view. I don't care if it's $150. Just to hear, a couple hours of him calling a fight. It's kind of like Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is unfiltered. He's a different kind of animal, and people like to hear him talk, which is why his career outside of fighting is still huge. I mean, he's still a big draw outside of being in the ring. So, and Trump most likely will be like that. I would say well beyond his political career, but he is a very old man too. But he's kind of like the Simon Cowell, where Simon Cowell is very brash, very hard on the contestants in the various talent shows he has, and people do respect his opinion a lot more. Now, unlike Simon Cowell, Trump attacks people that may not deserve to be attacked and things like that. So it doesn't give him the same amount of respect on all levels of Simon Cowell, but nevertheless, there is a lot of respect by a lot of people for what Trump has to say. I'm not watching it because I respect Trump. I want to watch it because I want to hear Trump. I want to hear what he has to say. My guess is he'll sneak some stolen election comments in there somewhere. If somebody ends up dazed in the ring, he may say they're sleepy like Joe Biden. Somebody looks like they're scared to come out and fight, he may say they're nervous like Nancy Pelosi, or even crazy like Bernie Sanders. But there's no way you're going to get this man an hour or two of airtime, and he's not going to say something about the election being stolen or his opponents. This should be good shit. For me, this is must-see TV, but I want to know, what do you think? Are you willing to watch it? You willing to, fork out? Now, from what I'm hearing, there's a huge payday for Trump. They got to pay him a lot, to be honest. And, Trump knows his value, and he's not going to do it for cheap anyway. But I hear he's getting several $1 million, which makes sense. He's a former fucking president. But what about yourself? Would you be willing to pay $150 to see Trump? See Holyfield. Let's stick to who we actually going to see. See Holyfield. I gotta tell you who he's fighting. I can't think of that right now. My name's all of the people. Joe Rogan is that announcer I meant to say earlier. That name came to mind, but now I can't remember who Holyfield's fighting. I didn't do any research for this interview. This me and you right now, as you can see, because my mind is all over the place. But I am at work right now as well, so I'm gonna cut it short. But what about you? You're willing to watch this shit? How much are you willing to pay? Would you pay $100 pay-per-view, $100 to see this? Would you be willing to do that? I will. 150? I don't know. Holla at you later. Your boy Chicago, the handsome liberal, out.